Hello, welcome back to the channel as we are again getting ever so close to the end of Trilogy Month. We have this video, which of course is my review for The Karate Kid Part 2, and then Friday will be my review for The Karate Kid Part 3, and then that's the end of Trilogy Month, which is wild that we're here already, you know. But yeah, so Karate Kid Part 2. This is my second time watching this film, and I can, safely say that it is 100% my favorite movie out of the five, nearly six movies and six seasons of a TV series. This is my personal favorite. So why is it my personal favorite? Well, it's simply because of the story. Like, yes, the first one was the underdog story. It was all about Daniel moving from Rosita, getting into fights with the Cobra Kai's, and then being trained by Mr. Miyagi to then prove that he can fight. And all this stuff. I cover all that on Monday's review. But this movie fleshes out Mr. Miyagi that bit more, because from the movie we know, from the first movie we know that he served in the military, he had a wife, and he was going to have a child, but both died in an internment camp during labor. And so he's just been keeping to himself. And Daniel, the movie opens up with the flashback of from the first movie, and then it actually shows something that was originally supposed to be in the was supposed to be the ending for the movie, for the first movie, but it got cut because of what the scene that it was. And so the I think they just wanted to have it end on a happier note than what this scene was going to be portraying. And so obviously they reused it for this. And that is straight after the tournament. Daniel is thinking like, oh, like my tournament career. What are you talking to Miyagi? Like, what's my plan? He's like, early retirement, because Miyagi does not like fighting, and that's going to be something that comes up and play a pivotal part of the third movie. And so as they're leaving, we see that Kreese is berating Johnny and ends up snapping his trophy and having him in a chokehold, nearly killing him because he came second. And so that's when Miyagi goes over. He frees Johnny. Kreese goes to hit him. Miyagi dodges both times, causing Kreese to punch and break two windows. So we do see his knuckles are all bloody. And then Miyagi gets him in for the kill, and he's going to kill him, but then he goes, honk. And that just, I died the first time I seen that, because it was so funny. And that's what this movie does. Because Pat Morita is more of a comedian style of an actor. That's how he got his start, was in comedy. And that's what this film does. It brings in that extra level of comedy for Mr. Miyagi, and I love that. I absolutely love that. And so then, of course, we cut to straight after prom, for Daniel, and it turns out that him and Ali are no more. And I think I know the reason why they wrote that in. And I think it's because the actress who played Ali in the first film was off filming Back to the Future Part 2 and 3 at that time. Which is something I completely forgot about, that she was in those two movies. Considering the fact that the last trilogy month, that was a trilogy that I covered. But it's something that I forget quite often. And so that explains why she isn't in this movie, and why the relationship between her and Daniel doesn't work out. And so Daniel's saying that his mother's accepted this summer job, so he has to go somewhere else for the summer. So he's not going to, he's not going to be around Miyagi. And so we see Miyagi starting to build on the guest house, and that's when he gets a letter for him to go, saying that his father is ill, and for him to go back to Okinawa. And that's how, that kicks it off. We get more backstory of why Miyagi left Okinawa, is because his love was to marry his best friend Sato, who was rich family, and stuff, because it was an arranged marriage. He proclaimed his love for her. Sato wanted to fight to the death over this, and so Miyagi, which is something he does mention in this movie, and something that gets played back into Cobra Kai, is his father would say, to avoid a fight, no be there. And so Daniel, of course, being the Karate Kid, goes with him to Okinawa, and there's a beautiful scene of with Miyagi seeing his father, and his father waking up and saying that, if I'm dreaming, don't let me wake up, or if I'm awake, don't let me fall asleep again, because he's so happy to see his son after all these years. Because I think it was like just prior. I think it was 1920 when Miyagi left. About 1920, 1930. So his father hasn't seen him in decades. And so obviously he's happy to see that. And then of course the father passes away. And we get some other stuff with Chosen, who is technically now the big bad. And I love Chosen. I love Chosen in this movie, but I love Chosen more because of Cobra Kai and what Cobra Kai has done for Chosen, making Chosen one of my favorite characters. He's kind of it's like, for me, for Dragon Ball, he's one of Daniel's rivals that becomes friends. The same thing happened with Krillin, Ten Shinhan, Piccolo, Vegeta from Dragon Ball with Goku. So I know for the non-Dragon Ball fans, that's gone over your head. But I love this movie. I love the look of it, and I just love everything about it. And then of course, the flood that happens, the big rainstorm, which is what, and then Miyagi going to save Sato, which is what made them squash the beef that they've had. And then of course Chosen, he's been disgraced because he refuses to go out and A, save his uncle, and B, help Daniel save a little girl, which again plays back into Cobra Kai later on in season 2, I think it was, when Daniel goes back to visit Okinawa, season 2, season 3, where that little girl goes on to become the president of Toyota, which is, Toyota, and because we know that Daniel in Cobra Kai is a car dealership, owns a car dealership, and so that, because he done that, he saved her, that has ramifications for Cobra Kai, and I love that. And because like I said, I started watching Cobra Kai having only watched the first Karate Kid film, 3 years ago, and just prior to season 3 coming out, and I didn't know any of this, and so it's because of me watching and enjoying and loving Cobra Kai that's what made me go back to watch part 2 and part 3 of the Karate Kid, and even the next Karate Kid as well. And I'm glad that I did, and I'm even happy that I rewatched this, because I've been wanting to rewatch it, because out of all the 5 movies that we have, not including the movie that's coming out next month, this is my favorite Karate Kid film out there, and it's one of my favorites, and it'll always be one of my favorites. I could be singing a completely different tune when Karate Kid Legends comes out at the end of May. Who knows? But regardless, that has been my review. So let me know what you thought of my review in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the movie foremost in the comments down below. And I shall see you all on Friday for my Karate Kid Part 3 review. So I'll see you all next time.